Next up, we have John Espy and Mike Broadwater from Loveland City Schools. Welcome to committee. You may begin when ready.
Thank you. Chair Serino, Vice Chair Chavez, Ranking Member Hicks-Hudson, and members of the Senate Finance Committee, thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on House Bill 96. My name is John Espy, and I'm the Treasurer CFO for Loveland City Schools, as well as a proud parent of 2 students in the district. Loveland City Schools serves over 4,000 students across 15 square miles in Warren, Claremont, and Hamilton counties. We are incredibly proud of our recent state report card where LCS achieved a perfect 5 stars in every category. What makes this even more remarkable is that among similar high-performing districts, we have the highest student-to-teacher ratio and the second lowest expenditures per pupil. We are proud to deliver what we call above-average results at below-average costs. Loveland City Schools is currently at the minimum state share percentage of 10% and operates as a guaranteed district. We are committed to educating every student, including those with special needs. Last year, Loveland Schools spent over $11.5 million in local funds to support our special education students while receiving just over $950,000 in state funding. This means that local funds cover 92% of these critical education costs. With the rising needs of our student population, this financial burden is simply not sustainable without your assistance. We've managed our staffing levels responsibly in response to enrollment changes, which helps keep our expenditures below the state average. However, if the guarantee is reduced, it would unfortunately necessitate more frequent school levies, creating further division within our community. Like many of our colleagues, we remain committed to the Fair School Funding Plan. As such, Loveland City Schools respectfully request the Senate take the following actions. First, maintain the current guarantee. Losing it would be catastrophic for our district's future and our ability to meet student needs. Second, provide increases that are at or closer to the predicted inflationary levels of 2.3%. Third, remove the cash balance provision from House Bill 96. Capping cash balances would undermine responsible financial planning and could increase long-term costs for both school districts and taxpayers. Loveland City Schools, which is already in the bottom 22% for cash balances, statewide stands to lose $4.5 million in the short term under this provision. Finally, we ask you to restore the 5-year forecast as a requirement for all Ohio public schools. This crucial tool allows us to anticipate and plan for gaps effectively. In closing, we urge you to consider the requests we outlined, as we believe there cannot be winners and losers when it comes to educating Ohio's students, as they are Ohio's collective future. Chair Serino and members of the committee, thank you for your time. Superintendent Mike Broadwater and I are now ready to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Questions from the committee? Senator Blessing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very familiar with your school district being in Hamilton County. Looking at this, I also know that you have not lost students the way other districts may have, and yet if the guarantee were removed, you would lose a considerable amount of money. You get about $12 million per fiscal year from the state. Here's the catch. You say that if that cash balance piece goes into play, you lose $4.5 million. If the guarantee is gone, you lose even more from the state. I see this as catastrophic, but I guess the larger question is, how can we say that even if we keep the guarantee in place, that we are holding schools harmless as we are then offering property tax relief by shifting around local dollars, which I view as nothing more than robbing Peter to pay Paul? Thank you.
Yes, so to answer that question through the chair to the senator, we believe the same thing. We believe that this has to be a coordinated effort when we're talking about reducing the burden on property taxes and on our communities, but we feel like with any kind of reduction to any of the items that you mentioned, it would really impact us. And special education is the largest component that we feel is leading to, where we have to educate these students, And we enjoy educating these students because that's part of what we do as educators. But that's definitely leading to the difference in funding that we're seeing versus what we would like to have.
Any other questions? Senator Hicks Hudson, ranking member.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you for being here and for your comments. You heard the young lady speak about the need for having funding that actually would cover the cost for education. Could you just talk a little bit about that in terms of your overall comments that you made today? What is the actual cost for you in your school district to educate your children?
Through
And you could do
the
a range.
Yes, so through the chair to the senator, when we look, we're below the state average. We're a little over $15,000 of what it actually costs us. If we're talking about the base cost, it's a little bit over $8,000, and each district has a different amount. The challenge that we have is that when we look at the base cost and we have there's a local capacity piece to the funding, and that is really what impacts us in the multiple different categoricals. So we have that 10% as I talked about, which is the multiplier for us. That's really what is we believe, keeping the district on the guarantee. And we believe that there's always going to be outlier districts that need to be part of the guarantee, and it should be looked at as part of the funding formula to keep those districts on the guarantee. I also believe that updating base costs and increasing and fully implementing the formula will take many districts off the guarantee.
Follow up? Okay. Senator Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your testimony. Mike, good to see you again. We normally don't meet in this formal of a setting. I actually have two questions. In the last 5 years, is your population, your student population growing? Are you a growing district? And my second question, I tend to agree with you on the cap, but if removing it is not a possibility, what is an acceptable number if we were to increase that number from 30%? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair to the senator, I think when we're talking about the cap, each district is different, and I would hate to opine on every district in the state of Ohio. I think that what would make the most sense from my lens is that if we could require districts to have a cash balance policy where there is a bottom and a top. And what I mean by that is a balance on the top end, that if a district is carrying large sums of cash, that there is a plan to either bolster the strategic plan of the district or also just, complete paperwork similar to districts that might be going into financial distress. There are typically some things that happen at the state level from the auditor's office as well as the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce that could be similar processes. And then if you want to jump in.
Through the chair to the senator, the enrollment piece we look at quite a bit. Loveland's a bedroom community, so you don't see enrollment going up and down too much. It has decreased. The way we have addressed it, it's decreased a little bit. We are in the bottom 3% of all school districts in the state of Ohio when it comes to student-to-teacher ratio. So there's only about 18 out of 600 districts that have less teachers than Loveland. And so we've adjusted the enrollment piece such that we feel that any reduction, we are so tight with staff, any reduction in staff is going to hurt kids.
Any other questions? So even though this is the Finance Committee, I want to make sure that we do realize that it's going to be results per dollar spent is really at the end of the day what we want to make sure that we're focusing on. So thank you for your time and your testimony.
Thank you.